Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. It is Saturday, the 7th of November, and the irony of this day is quite telling, because it is on this day in the year 2000 that the presidential election had occurred. Well, now it is 20 years later, and after that highly contested election, which came down to a few counties in Florida, and after 3 recounts, it was much later that the presidency was decided after a Supreme Court decision, after multiple recounts, to go to George W. Bush. Here we are now, 20 years later, and it's the 7th of November, and after just a few days, the presidency has been called for Joseph Robinette Biden. The irony in the middle name is quite telling, but nonetheless, it has been called, even though some of these states have not come to a conclusive count yet. Some of them will have to do a recount and the like. But media outlets are calling the race now. And so the question is, well, is this true, or how will it be processed by the markets? And that's kind of what this is about, because, I think a lot of people were in flux, and gold and silver, they kind of hung around. They really didn't do a whole lot. They started climbing a little bit in the last day or two, late into the week here. But now that it's been called by the media, is this going to have an effect? And what will the markets do, the overall markets, but also the dollar index, and so moving the gold and silver prices? Whatever the dollar does, you can bet your bottom dollar that gold and silver will do the opposite. And that is kind of what we are waiting for. And for those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know that I do a Sunday night market watch where I discuss, we look at the markets as they open up in Asia. So the Asian markets will open up at 6 p.m. on Sunday evening. And we look and see what kind of reaction to the weekend's news. And this is pretty big news that has occurred today on this anniversary of the actual elections in 2000 and in the year 2000. So here we are, another moment in history, and we look back to the announcement of President Trump's presidency 5 years ago, over 5 years now. 2015, the date that you see on these coins here, is when the President of the United States came down that escalator and changed American politics, for sure. However you feel about him, make no mistake, he has had a profound impact, and it will be felt for years to come in American politics, regardless of how you feel about the man or about the president. Nonetheless, it is intriguing and interesting to see however this election turns out, however the legitimacy or lack thereof in terms of these results, and how the next president will conduct himself and policy. I think many of us are nervous about that, and I think it's going to have an effect. Make no mistake, there will be more stimulus no matter who ultimately takes that seat in the Oval Office there. But I think that it's looking more likely that it's going to be Biden, unless they can win these legal challenges by the Trump team. And we can expect even more stimulus and even more quantitative easing and more government programs, more government intrusion, more regulation, and higher taxation. Those things do not bode well for the economy, and they also do not bode well for gold and silver staying low. Now, there will be times, I believe, even during this situation, where markets react to day-to-day news, and that's the nature of markets. And so gold and silver will probably subside many times throughout this administration if it does take root and we implement some of these policies. But I'm betting that we are going to see bullish gold and silver prices overall in the midst of kind of periods of dips in the precious metal prices. There's also something about normalcy and what have you to some extent, but there's a lot of things going on, I think, that people are more acutely aware of with social media out there and news, but also some things and pieces of news that we have to digest and figure out what's real and what's not real in the news cycle. And that's important as to how precious metals will react in these times. And we've already started to see a lot of that. This whole idea of fake news, there's really something to it. The media have never been challenged as they have during the Trump administration. And they've also been more polarized than ever before. The media are clearly on the side of the Democrats and the leftists, which will probably take power unless something changes and there's a breakthrough with smoking gun and the legal challenges for ballots and the like. And so with that being said, it's a powerful force. And it will continue to shape policy and shape public perception of the presidency and of policy, and it's a very powerful thing. But nonetheless, the reality is, the economics reality of what's going on is something that will be felt for quite some time, and I believe it will affect precious metal prices. I think we're going to see them climb, and especially where gold is now, I think it's going to go higher. To what level? I don't want to over-exaggerate the prices of where they're going to be, but nonetheless, there are times when the gold and silver goes up, and it's not a good thing, and there are times where it goes down, and it is a good thing. So I've always been a champion of actually lower gold and silver prices for that reason. But make no mistake, no matter what happens, no matter what political party is in control of the presidency, the House, and Senate, which I know there's a mixed bag there. But nonetheless, if the Republicans do maintain control of the Senate and have picked up a few seats in the House, maybe we can moderate some of these initiatives that are trying to be put out there and stave off something. But there's a lot of things that a president can do through executive orders that can also have negative impacts and the like. And I believe this president will do it if he is elected, or if it turns out that he does become president. He's already mentioned in a speech that he's going to be doing a lot of things that could potentially hurt the economy, and I think some of this stuff could be done via executive order. We'll see how it plays out. Politics do play a role. Make no mistake, they play a role in the markets. They play a role in what the prices of things like gold and silver will be. People get nervous, they get scared, so they run to the safety of gold and silver, because when it's all said and done, our dollar, and really has been, is under threat. The dollar is under threat, and has been for quite some time. One could make a very strong case that the dollar has been under threat since 1913, when the Federal Reserve Act was initiated in December of that year. And so we are certainly living in a time where this particular note is losing value year by year, and has been the case through multiple administrations, both Republican and Democrat, but it will continue to be the case, I think, in a more rapid pace now, as we are dealing with the effects of massive government spending, massive quantitative easing, and M2 money creation, all the likes, and all the different policies that come into play that are more Keynesian out there. we'll see how it plays out. I think the thing we should do, no matter how you feel about politics or what have you, because I know I have many people on my channel that don't necessarily feel and think the way I do. We should pray for the nation, and we should pray for the president, whoever he will be, and vice president. I think that's the best thing we can do, and let's see how it plays out. We'll see how these legal challenges play out, and we'll explore from there. But nonetheless, there's your news. Gold and silver, they will be affected by this, and it'll be very interesting to see what the initial reaction to this when the markets open tomorrow in Asia. So post your thoughts in the comment section below. We'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.